kingdom within me. Breaking through barriers, success is what I see. Understanding my destiny.
Hi, I want to welcome you to Dunamis Woman Today. I am the host of the show, and I am Devetta D. Collins, and I am here to empower you and to encourage you through this talk show to let you know that if you are a woman listening to me right now, that you're a powerful woman, you're a dynamite woman, you're a dynamic woman, you are a woman who's been given so much deep down within your soul, and that only has come to be able to make sacrifices in your life. I'm here to ignite that power that's on the inside of you as I talk and have a great dialogue with Ariel Fuller, who is not only just a Dunamis woman, she's my daughter, and she's seen so many sacrifices, yet she has sacrifices that she has made and steadily making. And that's why we are Dunamis women, Ariel, because a woman of power got many sacrifices. Mm-hmm. She has made many sacrifices, particularly if she have children for her children. Many. And you all don't have no idea what that's like until you get a child of your own.
No, and I do not want one right now.
Because you have to make sacrifices. For me, I love to learn the Word of God, that I may apply it, that my life may be that which He has created me for, and to be that woman that He's created me to be. And I'm so reminded when we're talking about sacrifices of Romans 12:1, where Apostle Paul really admonishes us to present our bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is our reasonable service. And when I hear the term reasonable, it makes me think that's the least that I can do for Him out of all that He's sacrificed and did for me. And even when Apostle Paul is talking in that passage of Scripture, he's really talking to high-minded people who really think that they really got it all together, but fail to realize somebody had to make a sacrifice in order for them to be where they are. How does that resonate with you?
I mean, offering yourself as a living sacrifice, you know that your body is not your own. And especially when it comes to, I thankfully have never really dealt with sickness or, health problems or things like that. But when I think about offering your body as a living sacrifice, it's not just your physical state. No. It's really your will, to do what God called you to do, even if you don't want to do it. I think sometimes, even when I relate in my own perspective of, me mentoring, I tell my girls all the time, sometimes I don't want to get up and come here because I don't have children. I don't have to buy you food and come here and be prepared. But I have to offer myself as a living sacrifice for the sake of their souls. And so it's not something that you want to do. And so sometimes when people come to me and say, well, I want to mentor and I want to do this. And I'm like, why?
Right.
This isn't something that I love to do, that I woke up and say, I want to get up and impact girls every day or, and hear their problems and things like that. So it's really not going in my own will, what I desire to do, because there's so many different things that I will want to do. When you think about that high-minded, mentality, especially myself, I have to check myself when it comes to that high-mindedness, because it's like, I could be doing this, I could be going here, but it's your will. And saying, you know what, God, whatever you call for me to do, I'm going to will myself over. Wherever you ask me to maneuver and do, I'm just going to give myself over to you.
In the last show we talked about, and we will always probably talk about emotional healing, and I've always taught, the plethora of women who've been in my midst that as you really look at the Word of God and you endeavor to apply it in your life and you walk this journey with Him, He will have you to do some things that you don't want to do.
Right.
We always looking at, oh, God, please me, but God is saying, can you do what pleases Him? And that's that sacrifice. I don't want to do some of the things that I do. I don't want to pastor. I don't want to do that, but I have learned to not my will, thy will be done. And emotional healing, we talk about the soul, because God gave me this soul. And as He's given it to me, it's my responsibility to give it back to Him.
Right.
That my will be the will of my Father. That my will, that sounds like Jesus when He talked about it in the book of John. I come to do the will of my Father. So anytime you're saying you love God or you're here to serve Him and you're developing spiritually, You got to surrender your will.
Right. And I think the will is such an important, it is not even important, it's the whole piece, because I think it's just intricate. I remember I was saying something to someone the other day, and we were talking about worship. And you know how you're in church and the pastors say, lift up your hands in worship, and you have those people who just don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's not because like, well, how are you going to tell me to lift up my hands in worship? But that's just one intricate, small example of just willing yourself over, because it's not because, you know, you want to, someone's going to look at you. It's not because the pastor's telling you to do something. Your obedience and even just allowing yourself to avail. How many times do we walk by someone in the mall and we know that we should go say something to them, but we don't do it?
Yeah.
And it's still, that's still a way of willing yourself and your body as a living sacrifice. And so knowing that you can be that intricate in someone's life and you still decide not to, just those little small things, I think sometimes we take for granted, of just saying it's a small way of being a little bit disobedient.
And that's why healing is so important, because when you have been damaged in your emotions, you know, it alters your thinking. You know, you know, as I teach, you know, your mind plus your emotions equal your behavior, which is your will. So even for us as women, because we go through so much, even, you know, I'm always go back to the natural state, birthing you. I had to go through so much. You know, I had to. You don't know what it's like to birth, not only birth, but go through the process of, oh, the feet swelling up and the nausea and the sickness and the just being tired and just worn down and, oh, God, when is this baby going to come forth? And then you got to go through the pain and you got to go through the contractions and all these things. So it is in the natural. That's really what we go through spiritually.
Right.
And then we get to a point where, God, I'm too tired and too depleted to do what you have called me to do, because I went through so much just to get you here. I went through so much, and then now you're here. I got to raise you, I got to feed you, I got to provide, I got to think, and yet I'm still trying to have life, and my emotions is steadily being damaged because life is bringing me blows. Now God is saying, present your body a living sacrifice. You know, I need healing to be able to do that. I need to become emotionally empowered, which is another form of healing, in order to be able to present that what he requires of me mentally to execute and do the will, that I have the ability, the strength, the vitality, the force to do it. Do I feel like it? No. Do I like it? No. That's why we have so many people who are battling depression. You know, we know that from a natural standpoint, but those are forces of life that have come to wear them down, and now they internalize matters of life, and guess what? They're depressed.
Right, but my thing is, what does that look like? When in today's day and age, you know, offering your body as a living sacrifice, for you, talk about your experiences, but also in today's woman, what does that really look like?
Wow, today's woman, Dunamis woman today, we have embarked upon an era of time that another woman made sacrifices for us to get here. Now we have taken those sacrifices today and we have thrived off of them.
Right.
In our minds, I have arrived. Failed to realize, if it wasn't for another woman, I don't care if it was your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. Times wasn't then what it is today. That's why it's Dunamis woman today, because we got to pick up that mantle. And we have to say, you know what, if I don't make the sacrifice, living my dream, living my vision, it may not pay me a lot. It may cost me my life. But as you stated, you're doing that for the mentoring program, because you're doing this for future generations.
Right.
You're reaching the third grader. You're reaching the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old, the 10-year-old. What if you did not make that sacrifice? Where would that be? We as women nowadays, because we have arrived and we've gotten our leadership positions, and we had to fight to get here. We had to even fight to vote. That wasn't just black women. That wasn't just white women. That was women, you know. What sacrifices are you making for our future generations? Nowadays, parents are giving you all everything. You all come up with now you all make more money. You can go get a job today, and you make more money than I had to work for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And in their minds, you feel like you're entitled to that. Now let's talk to that piece, that you feel like you're entitled to something that some other woman had to work and sacrifice that you never knew.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think the entitlement is you know, you grow up in a generation when you feel like because you do the right thing that you deserve something. And I think I had to really break myself really fast of that entitlement mentality because even in the career world or in the work world, I never had a corporate job, but even then, I mean, no one owes you anything, you know, in life. Even if you did have a salary that was $100,000, you have to earn that salary. So I think this entitlement of because I got a degree and because I went to school that I'm deserving of this opportunity, and you are deserving of all what God has for you, but that requires you to do something more. I think that when you limit yourself of just thinking, well, I'm entitled to the material things of this world, you don't even have that grit to even do anything more what God is calling you to
handle it, you know.
Yeah.
And the way the world system and society is, as long as you have that piece of paper and you earn a PhD at 28, they're giving you the job at that level of pay that mothers before us, women before us, fathers before us, men before us had to work harder for to do so. So it could be a setup. You know, it could be something that's great, but if you're not prepared in the long run, it can set you up.
And I don't even want to talk more about career world. I mean, I'm really thinking when you said present your body as a living sacrifice and you talked about depression and for future generations, I'm even thinking of the strongholds that we even deal with over our mind. And when it comes to being in a state of depression or perversion or, you know, high-minded thinking or control, that is ways, those strongholds that we're not able to even present ourselves as a living sacrifice. And if we don't know how to break through some of those strongholds, how much we're damaging our future generations. Even just I'm thinking of someone being, you know, I even think about, even though I'm not married, but when I do get married, that I will be able to will myself if my husband is not, you know, we're not getting along, to be able to pray for my children. So when we come back, I want to really talk about that when it comes to the presenting your body as a living sacrifice and overcoming the things that are in your mind.
And as we close, we'll go to a break. I want you to keep in mind that it's first natural, then spiritual. I am a Dunamis woman. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I am Dee Collins.
How to Pray with Power on Purpose is a dynamic book by Devetta D. Collins. If you want to activate your prayer life, get effective prayers, key strategies on how to change your life and experience breakthroughs in prayer, it is a must that you go to www.dunamis-woman.com and get your copy.
Well, we want to welcome you here, right back to Dunamis Woman Today. We had an awesome discussion in our first half of the show, but I do want to admonish you to get that book, How to Pray with Power on Purpose, because as the author, I know it will change your life. Well, Ariel, we're back here, and I left off with a part that I wanted you to remember. What was it now? Come on.
Yeah, it was really how do you know, present your body as a living sacrifice.
And I wanted you to remember that things are first natural.
Natural, and then spiritual. Correct.
Oftentimes, we look at things, particularly when we're in the church or something like from a spiritual standpoint, and we forget the natural things that God has given us. I mentioned the natural about, you know, even using the career and the entitlement and things like that, because if I'm so puffed up naturally, it's difficult for me to process spiritual forces.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Just like a person could be so spiritually inclined that it's hard for them to see the things in the natural.
Right.
You know, and the Bible clearly states first natural, then spiritual. So we got to break down those strongholds in our mind. And the first way that we do that is to come out of denial. You know, my life, first of all, is not my own.
Right.
Let's come out of denial, okay? Breath was given to me miraculously.
Right.
Guess what? Breath can be taken away from me.
Absolutely.
Instantaneously. You know, when I keep that in mind, it humbles me to say, God, I can't present my body a living sacrifice. Because you can take it away whenever you want to. You know, my father was literally, his life was taken just like that. One day I hugged him. The next moment, the next day, they called me. And by the time I got there, he was gone. What happened? And it made me think differently about life. It made me appreciate people, love, life, relationships so much differently than what I did before, because it changed just like that. And that's how I stand by presenting my body a living sacrifice. I've had money, I've had things, and I've been down.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't do anything else but present my body a living sacrifice unto him. God, what do you want me to do for you? It doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter if I like it. It doesn't matter. You didn't ask me for no permission, but I just yield myself to you. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it really makes sense, especially when you think about everything that you own and everything that you have as well, because it's not just, sometimes we obtain these things and we think that it's, our own, but even if it's our finances, even if it's our cars, even if it's our homes, I think seeing, like I said, you give up your home and give up certain things for other people, that even you realize that that's not even your own, even though you use your flesh to get that, you use your mind or your gifts or whatever the case may be to obtain that, it's still not necessarily yours. But how important is it to present yourself as a living sacrifice when it comes to other generations? Because I feel like if you don't, how much more that affects someone else that's younger. And I think that, I'm thinking of how many people, when we hear that scripture and you think, okay, well, present myself, it's like, okay, well, when God tells me to give, I'm just going to give. Or, when he tells me to bless someone, I'm going to bless someone. But really, I'm just thinking of a woman in your marriage, in your home, with your own children. What does that fully look like? Not just blessing somebody with something, but really saying, God, like this is all of you.
Yeah. Oftentimes when we think we're blessing someone, we're really hurting someone because we don't really understand the true meaning of blessing. And I can't get into that. But to answer your question is that I have to understand who I am. I am a woman of power. I am a dunamis woman. God has given me a strength and a force, but it's not for me. It's for who came through me. It's for who he has attached to me, that my body will be a living sacrifice. It really, I'm going to use for an example, just from a parental standpoint. It blows my mind how a mother can't make sacrifices to raise her daughter or her son. That blows my mind. And it blows my mind because I used to run a child welfare agency where I had young men who came into my custody. What makes a woman can walk away from her children?
Right.
See, that's the first sacrifice. God gave his only begotten son for us. So how I present and how we all can present our bodies a living sacrifice, think futuristic. If I don't sacrifice, even from a parental standpoint, to see that you have what you need, not just food, not just clothing, not just a car, nurture, guidance. The older you get, the more you need me.
Right.
And I've learned that. I thought, okay, wow, once you're 18, they gone. You just started learning.
Right.
Seemed like my life should be my own now, right? But it's that sacrifice, because I always have to think futuristic. Can you handle the things that's going to come in this life that I know about that you don't know about? God looked futuristic when he sent his only begotten son. He saw what the conditions of this world would be today. He saw the condition of what it was in the past. He steadily sees things that we don't know about. And he always wants us to behold that sacrifice, which is Christ, that we may be able to live. Without Christ, there is no life.
No, and actually it's so amazing that you said that, because I wasn't even, you mentioned the mother perspective, but I'm thinking of a non-mother perspective, and how when you present your body as a living sacrifice, you're allowing Christ to be exemplified through you. And when you think about, I'm just thinking of when we used to have men in our lives, and sometimes when you present your body as a living sacrifice for God to be able to use you in any way, it could shatter your confidence.
It could shatter your confidence,
because sometimes I would just remember when men would come in our lives, and you would say, teach them and be friends with them, and I used to feel like, why am I helping this guy become a man? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to be a friend even when they're not even a good friend to you,
That's
when
right.
they don't, when you're dating someone and they don't even, make that choice for you to be their wife, but you still have to be that woman of God to be able to, communicate with them and to talk to them and empower them. And I'm just even thinking in that standpoint, when it wasn't because of just me, because of my affection for you, it was because of the Christ that was on the inside of me, and that was an assignment at that time. And I don't even want to just think about men. It could be friends. It could be whoever's in your life for that season. But you present your body as a sacrifice. But when they walk out of your life, or when they don't appreciate it, you sometimes be like, God, what are you doing?
And that's when that's when your faith is challenged. Because a powerful woman, a woman of power, a dunamis woman, can love even when she's not being loved.
Right.
She can give even when she hasn't received. She can bridle her tongue to speak life and not death, even when somebody has cursed and spoke death to her. That's the beautiful part about me presenting my body a living sacrifice, because people don't know when I'm not being loved. They don't know. It humbles me because I feel humiliated, because I really could do something else to you. You know what I'm saying? But I choose to love you. No, this is not Devetta. I don't even know how to love like that. It's the Christ on the inside of me. But on the flip side, it causes that Christ to grow up in me.
It does.
You understand what I'm saying? Why? I'm asking you a question literally. Why, with no children, no husband, you're 27 years old, you could be living the world, why do you go into the public school system and give your life and mentor those young ladies? Why?
I feel like it's a I don't want to say obligation, but it's my duty. It's what I was put on this earth for. I feel like it's not even an option for me to say, well, God, I'm going to just dismiss this and walk away and do something else. I feel like it was something that was presented, and I had to accept it. And I had to accept it no matter what the journey came with that process. And
That's
I still
right.
ask myself, why?
You're right.
You know, but why not? I feel like who
and
else
that's
would
the
have
key.
been able to do what I was necessarily...
But it's so rewarding, and I watch you and I see you, and I understand your journey because been there, done that. But I see you financially sacrificing. I see you emotionally sacrificing. I see you where you're not out on dates and you're not doing a whole lot of things that most women your age could do, because you're graciously, joyfully pouring your heart into these young ladies. I see you even when we had our pageant here recently, where their own mothers did not come, but you were there. No, you might not have birthed a child, but you're mothering so many young ladies that their own mothers, because they're so damaged, don't even see the benefit and the beauty of who they have in their child. That's what God requires of you. That's when you're fulfilling the scripture to say, I present my body a living sacrifice. No. Our not-for-profit, Dunamis Community Advocate Services, we don't have grants. We don't have $1 million donors and sponsors and all that. You know, you take your little, you take your last, you take all of that to see that they live beyond what you have lived, even now, that they may walk a journey to make different decisions in their life.
Right. And it brings me to our last point about when I talked about you don't want to lose your life trying to get other people to gain theirs, but we have a duty and a responsibility as Christians to be able to do what we can and let God be able to do the rest. And when you talk about, you know, presenting yourself as a sacrifice, I don't want people to lose their life trying to get other people to gain theirs or trying to win souls, because you definitely have to lose your life for Christ. But it's a certain balance of, you know, and I had to learn that, you know, Ariel, there's a balance that you got to have, you know, you can't just give yourself all, you know, and lose yourself literally and die because you're giving yourself to other different people, but allowing God to do the rest and allowing you to do your part and Him saying, this is my soul. And only I can win this soul. And so it's kind of having that healthy balance of knowing how to will yourself over, but also knowing that you have a responsibility to take care of yourself as well.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I know we're going to end up wrapping it up, but I want you to really, not only you listen, but I want you to listen. But I'm speaking directly to you at this point, and it's applicable for everyone. We, as women of power, we have to understand how to apply the Word of God to our lives with specificity. That's why I'm really, just to have a place where, ooh, you just throw a message on someone, it can also hurt them more so than help them, because they don't know how to apply it with specificity. You know my saying, I live to teach and I teach to live, because that word is not just a rule book, it's an instruction manual. And we have a tendency to take out scriptures that we like. Oh, this one feel good. Let me take that one out. But I don't like the one when Jesus did tell his disciples in Matthew 10, to lose your life is to gain it. See, he wasn't talking to the multitudes. He was talking to the disciples who were learners. They came away and said, you know what, there's more that I need to understand, not only about you, but about myself. And he taught them, you gain so much. Peter was a great, successful businessman, but he had to come away to learn how to lose his mindset of what was trained in order to be able to embrace the newness of life. And that's what it's about. You cannot present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto him, which is your reasonable service, my reasonable service, until we make a decision. God, I want to sit down and learn more about you with specificity. Speak to my heart directly. And that's what Dunamis Woman Today is about. That's what the sacrifice God has given unto me. That's the life that I live, that I may empower women, that they may understand how to continue their journey with a greater strength and a greater force. I thank you for being with us today. I am Dee Collins. I am a Dunamis woman, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. God bless you. I am Devetta Collins, and I am your spiritual coach, leader, and mentor. I am so honored to have coached so many women and men over 2 decades. So many times we know what to do in life, but it's about how we do it based upon who we are. So I'm here for you to understand your greatness and the true power that you possess. So give me a call at 1-855-BE-DUNAMIS. Learn more about the journey that God has designed for you with specificity. Remember, there's no one else like you. So I want you to hear this testimony by one woman, a powerful woman that I have been coaching and have applied everything that God has given me for her. But in the meantime, I want you to call that number, 1-855-BE-DUNAMIS, 1-855-BE-DUNAMIS. I'm here to hear your heart so you can understand the power you possess.
Totally yielding yourself to the will of God is no joke. It's a humbling experience to know that you can't do everything by yourself and experience levels of success. There was a point in my life where I recognized that I needed help to break through some barriers that were really hindering me. I was stuck. But I didn't know I need coaching. I wanted to do something different. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then I encountered Devetta D. Collins of the Understanding Your Greatness coaching program. Not only has she helped me in life, relationships, motherhood, but she's also given me spiritual guidance that has been sound, and I have seen God move in my life because of the yielding that has taken place, because of what she's put on the inside of me as a coach. I am forever grateful for all of the success that I've experienced in those areas, motherhood, life, as well as business. I am a product of this coaching, and I've decided to go full time, not only to work with her, but also to help others like you experience transformation.
Hi, my name is Allison Monet with Monet Designs, and I encourage you to brand your own beauty with our hair and makeup product lines. Please learn more about me at dunamis-woman.com.
Exposing, empowering, my greatness in the eye.